Okay, so we've had a look at arrays and, us accessing elements from it and adding elements and removing elements from our arrays. But we can do quite a lot more with our arrays. And now let's have a look at what we have here. So we have an array called fruits, and in it there are 5 objects. Each of the objects has a name of the fruit, a colour, a country of origin, and how many calories there are in the fruits. So this is quite a simple array, but you might have an array that contains, a million different users, for example, of your app, or it could be, data surrounding the, buildings in a certain housing estate. But for us, we're just going to use this really simple array of fruits. So let's go ahead and do something with this array. So the first array iterator that I'm going to show you is called for each. And it's kind of a bit like natural language, even if it's a little bit kind of the wrong way around. So the way that we can do something to every single one of these elements in this array is we could say fruits dot for each, and this is a method, so we need the parentheses there. And what we're going to do is we're going to write a function in here that will do something for each of the elements in our fruits array. So the way that we do that is we need kind of like a temporary variable, and that will be the actual element in the array. So I'm going to say fruit, and then we need to use what's called a fat arrow. And this fat arrow basically says that this is a function. So we will add some curly brackets after it. And if we just hit return now, you'll see that VS Code formats this all very nicely for us. Now, inside this for each, we can say do something. So just copy along with me and let's see what happens. So we're going to say console.log, and in here I'm going to say I have a, and then I'm going to say concatenate onto it this fruit. But how do we access the name of the fruit? Well, this fruit is an object, so we'll say fruit dot name. So if we save this now, you'll see what it's done is it's gone ahead and it said, I have our apple. Okay, it's done that twice because we've got 2 apples. I have a banana, I have a lemon, I have a guava. Fantastic. So what this has done is it said, hey, go onto the fruits array, and then for each of them, do this. And it's given us access to the whole element for every time it's for each iteration. Great. So that's kind of a basic general purpose thing method that we can use to iterate over the whole array. Now, another one that I want to show you is called map. Now, this actually creates an entirely new array for us. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say const loud fruits equals, and then we'll set this to fruits dot map, and again we need parentheses. we need our little temporary variable, our argument for what's called our callback function. And we will say fruit, fat arrow, and curly brackets. Now, from this map iterator that we're using, we need to return something from it. So what I'm going to return here is fruit dot name dot to upper case. And again, to uppercase is a method, so we need parentheses. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to say console.log loud fruits. And what's going to happen here is map is going to iterate over every single one of these. And then it's going to kind of push to an array, a new array, the fruit.name, and then it's going to make it uppercase. So let's save that and see what happens. Hey, fantastic. So we've got a new array with uppercase names. So just remember that map creates a new array. And we'll save that. Okay, what if we want to kind of filter? You know, maybe we've got a list of our fruits on a website and somebody only wants yellow fruits, for example. So how can we do that? Well, we can use something called the filter function. And again, this creates a new array, but it does some extra stuff as well. So what we can say here is const yellow fruits and set this equal to fruits dot filter parentheses again. We need our argument for our callback function, fat arrow, and then curly brackets. And here we need to return kind of a conditional. So we need to return for when fruit.color is yellow. So here we can say return fruit.color is equal to the string yellow. So let's save that. And of course, we need to console.log our yellow fruits. And if we save, you'll see what's happened is it's now filtered out every element where the color is not yellow. Of course, it's given us the whole object because that's what we've asked it to do. We've said return everything. We're going to return fruit, the whole object, where fruit.color is yellow. Of course, we could do the opposite as well. We could make this where the fruit.color is not equal to yellow. And you'll see now it has returned us our apples and our guava because these are not yellow fruits. So that's what the filter function does. This is very handy for if, say, you've got lists of products and you want to search by name or something like that. You're kind of filtering out everything that doesn't correspond to your user's search term. So what if we want to see whether our fruits have any apples in them? We don't care about what the information is about them. We just want to know if this array has an apple in it. Well, we can use something called sum. We can use .sum. Now, in this small instance here, we can see quite clearly that there is an apple, but maybe you're searching through an array that's got 1 million elements. So what we can do here is we can say const has apple, and we'll set this equal to fruits dot sum. And what's this asking for? It asks for a callback method again, and it's going to ask for kind of a true or a false value depending on which element it is iterating over. So we'll say fruit here, fat arrow, curly brackets, and then we'll say return if fruit dot name is equal to apple. That needs to be the string of apple, of course. So now I'm just going to go ahead and console.log has apple. Save this. And you'll see there on line 30, where we're console.logging this out, it says true, brilliant, we have got apples. So if I change this to something else, dog, for example, and save, you'll see that it's actually coming up as false because there is no fruit with the name of dog. So this is just a way that we can see if something exists within our array. So let's just change that back so that it makes some sense. Great. Let's now see if every one of our elements in our array conforms to some rule that we can write. So what we can do here is we can use something called every. And if a condition is true and every single one of the elements conforms to that condition, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So let's go ahead and say const is over 50 cals. So what we're going to do here is we're going to see if every single one of our elements is over 50 calories. So we'll set this equal to fruits.every. And of course, we need a callback function again. So we'll say fruit for the element that we're currently iterating over, fat arrow curly brackets. And then we're going to return here kind of that conditional, that test. So we shall say return true if fruit dot calories is greater than 50. Cool, so let's go ahead and console.log that out and save this. And you'll see that it's false because we have one element here that's actually under, well, we have two elements that are under 50 calories. Let's change this number now to 10. So if we save this, you'll see that we get true here. And that's because every single element, this returned true. The fruit.calories is greater than 10.